You are listening to the Success Diaries podcast. I'm your hostess, Bree Seeley, a creative growth strategist and top entrepreneur coach on Google. The Success Diaries is your invitation to do success on your own terms. Every episode features interviews with entrepreneurs and change makers around the world living their success on their terms. On today's episode, we welcome Erica Wernick. Erica has worked in Hollywood as a graphic designer for television for the past 12 years. You can see her work on hit shows like Glee, The Office, Superstore, and most recently, Top Chef. After fulfilling her own dream, Erica felt called to help other Hollywood creatives with their dreams and started a coaching business. Since then, Erica has developed a reputation as Hollywood's leading success coach. And between herself and her clients, they've booked and worked on over 60 television shows and films on every major network. Hello, Success Diaries listeners, Bree Seeley again, coming back at you with a fantastic interview. Today, I'm talking with a good personal friend who I have known for, I can't even believe it, over 5 years. Eric and I first met at a wealth conference and have just stayed really good friends. And it's been amazing seeing what she has built with her business as Hollywood's leading success coach. So welcome, Erica.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited because just getting to know you over the last 5 years obviously has been I love how you see the world and I love how you approach things in your coaching business. And so I'm really excited to ask you the token question, which is, what does success mean to you?
Yes, I love this question so much. And it's so great to ask me now because my answer has really changed over the last year. You know, when I first became an entrepreneur, I equated success with money. So it was, how much money is the business making? And I was really focused on it. And, and I think too, in the entrepreneurial world and the coaching world, we hear a lot of conversation about 6-figure and 7-figure and 6-figure months and 5-figure months. And, those terms are thrown around so much. And I really latched onto them. And so I always thought I'm only successful if I can say I've had a 5-figure month or if I've had a 6-figure year. And that has been my barometer for the last, few years. And it wasn't until last year, interestingly enough, I'd love to hear what you think about this too. But when I hit 6 figures a couple of years ago for, annual income, it's when things started to shift for me. So last year, I was making money, I was doing well, I was quote unquote successful how I thought that I was, but I wasn't loving 100% what I did. I didn't feel like I was so excited to wake up Monday morning. And I started questioning that because I became an entrepreneur for freedom. And I think there's so much freedom in being able to wake up Monday morning and say, I love what I do and I'm so excited to get to work. And it's not like I didn't like what I was doing. I love coaching. I love my clients. I love Hollywood. I love everything. I like a lot of the things that I was doing, but I just started feeling like I didn't love it. And so because of that, I've really shifted how I feel about success and how I define success. So for me, it is so much more now about happiness and everybody finding their own version of what success means to them and not getting caught up in what it looks like for somebody else. So, for me right now, I'm very focused on what brings me joy. How can I make money and help people and love what I'm doing in the process? How can I get excited Monday morning and love what I'm doing? So I have now shifted and really put my focus on happiness and finding that joy in the day-to-day.
I love that. And it's so funny because, Erica and I first met through a coach friend of ours who ended up becoming my coach. I think, did you coach with her a little bit too, Erica? No. Okay. So, just a friend of Erica's, my coach when I first started, and she used to talk about how money was not a good, not a good thing to attach your definition of success to, because then your definition of success was always kind of contingent on something outside of yourself, and that you then didn't get to have power over when you felt successful or how you felt successful. And that, if you were looking at where you were at right now in your current story in relation to specifically like money and wealth, that if that wasn't enough, getting more money would still not be enough. And it was funny because I said to her, I was like, that's not true. That's a lie. And I was going for, at that time, I think I was making like, I don't know, 1,000, 2,000 a month or something. And when I got up to those 10, 15, 20,000 months, I felt the exact same way. Like, just like you were saying, that satisfaction wasn't there. It was that money, even though the money had grown, it still wasn't enough. And there was that constant feeling of not enoughness within me because I was tying my success to something that was like so outside of me.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it really started, dipping into my self-worth. So it wasn't just how I see success, but it's now my worth. And, thank God for therapy. Like I had to go to therapy, and I was like, hey, so I've noticed that I really tie my self-worth to, how much money I've made that month. If somebody said, if you were like, hey, Erica, how are you? I literally would answer that question based on how much money I made that month. If I had a good financial month, I'd be like, I'm doing great. I had a great month. And if I didn't make a lot of money that month, I would feel inadequate and I wouldn't feel worthy. So it's, like I still want money, and I still think that we can do such great things in this world. And there's a lot of great things that I want to do with money. So I still have goals, to grow my wealth. It's just not the focus anymore, because I want to be happy while I'm doing it. Like I don't care about the money so much that I'm willing to sacrifice my own happiness.
Yeah. And I think too, like for me, I know that roller coaster that you were talking about was really when I was experiencing like such high highs in my business and such low lows in my business. And it was this constant up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. And now that I've switched more into, like you were saying, this satisfaction and this joy and this fulfillment, I don't experience those highs and lows as much as I used to. Is that similar for you?
Yes. I mean, I'm like completely shifting gears right now in my business. So like the money, like I haven't been making as much money, but it has been consistent.
Yeah, but that you like finding that satisfaction for me was like, it was less of the emotional highs and lows, right?
Yes.
Like it was like my emotions, like you said, were riding on the amount of money. And that was the roller coaster. People talk about this roller coaster of entrepreneurship. And I'm like, well, I think that roller coaster only happens when you're looking towards external measures, but that when you can really find that inner satisfaction, like those emotional highs and lows just don't seem to occur as much.
Definitely. I mean, absolutely. I think, I think about that all the time, because in Hollywood, it's similar, where you just feel like you're on this emotional roller coaster. And I always tell my clients, like, I want to teach them the mindset work. And for me, it's, spiritual work and, other kind of, whatever I do, therapy, mindset work, to help ground myself and to even out those highs and lows. And I will say that ever since like this year, December, January, I was started really focusing on, okay, what do I want to do that really makes me happy? And there's been a little bit of a dip in terms of like, oh, this is scary. This is new. This is a new way to try this. And because I like a lot of the things in my business like weren't bringing me like ton of joy. So I'm having to shift away from them. And that's really scary too, because I think, I feel like you and I had talked about this before in the online coaching world. It's like there's 5 ways that you can make your money. There's private coaching, group coaching, masterminds, memberships, and courses. And it feels like, I have to fit into one of those, and one of those has to bring me joy. And I was finding that none of them brought me joy.
Right.
in the sense that I like was really wanting. And And so like stepping away from that and going like, wait, I'm going to have to make my money a different way or sell some of those things in the meantime while I transition. So there have been a little bit of dips just in terms of like that process, but in terms of, you know, my emotions and how I feel, I have felt so much happier and I so much more excited about the projects that I'm working on and the people that I'm connecting with and the direction that I'm going in. So yes, like I think in general, the highs and the lows have definitely ended.
I love that. So and this happens for so many of us, we have to let go of what we've done in the past. Either if it's not working, it's not bringing us joy, whatever that is, to then embrace something new. How have you trusted to let go of those 5 things that don't bring you joy in order to know that what you're moving into will not only bring you that joy, but also the financial support that you're looking for?
You know, it's interesting that you ask that because it's sort of been a series of, I feel like, was it our friend that you were just talking about that called it this, but like universal winks?
Yep.
You know, I feel like I've had these moments where the universe is sending me these little signs to help me with that trust and to help me get there. And it's been like a lot of little moments along the way. You know, like when it very first started, I was talking to a previous coach of mine. We become friends and we were hanging out. And she was telling me, you know, I really want to be like this course maven, you know, this course queen. And I immediately felt something in my body contract and say, ooh, I don't want that. And not that I didn't like it for her or understand, you know, why it was so great. It was just personally, I just immediately felt, oh my gosh, I don't want that. And so I think like that seed started to be planted. And then I read a book that really changed it for me. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I want to be speaking. I want to be on stage. You know, I grew up acting. And so I think I miss being on stage a bit. I want to be more in Hollywood. I want to be producing and I want to write this book and be speaking. And so these seeds started to get planted of ideas of new directions. And then I started following them. Like I've been calling it inspired strategy. You know, I think Abraham Hicks would call it inspired action, but I've really been letting myself be led to the actions instead of trying to think them through, you know, just
Yes.
being inspired. And so I've been leaning into that and that's been helping me trust more. And then to be honest, I had this really great tarot session.
Love it.
um, it was so good where, you know, she was like, I see there's like these 2 different directions. And I mean, she was so spot on. It was crazy. And she like, you know, it helped me trust. And I was like, this new direction is so scary. Like, I don't know how I'm going to make my money. It's like, even if I get a book published, like that money will come later. It's not right this second. And, you know, and so I had a lot of fears about going in that new direction, but that tarot session really helped me cultivate the trust and you know, just lean more into it. It's like, just trust that everything's going to work out and that, okay, there might be an overlap where I'm still going to sell some courses to make money in the meantime, but that's not going to be my main energetic focus.
Yeah, I love that. So I totally had a tarot session in December as well. And one of my girlfriends did it. And she was like, you need to delegate more. You need to grow your team. You need to do this. Like you're overworking yourself, blah, 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 all this stuff. And so I was like, okay, where's the money going to come from? And she turned over the hanged man card. And I will never forget. She looked at me and she starts laughing and she goes, doesn't fucking matter. And she just started laughing. And I was like, but what does that mean? And it's been so interesting to watch that play out this year because, I feel that was such an aligned reading for me as well, because it just kind of gave me permission to, like, when I'm getting ready to make these decisions, that like the universe told me, like, it's got my back and I just have to trust and surrender that if I make this decision, which feels like a yes to me, that everything is going to fall into place.
Totally. I mean, it's like if we feel like we're receiving these divine inspired ideas, like why would the universe essentially deliver these ideas to us and then not give us any of the tools or resources to carry it through?
Yeah, I always say to people too, like, you know, the universe would never like dangle a carrot in front of your face and be like, look at how great and amazing this thing is. And like, you should do this and you should do that. And then like snatch it back and be like, just kidding. That's not available to you. Like the universe would never
do that. Like if it's being shown to us, that means to me that it's possible for us.
Yes, me too. 100%.
So what you've been talking about with this, you know, specifically relating to the coaching industry, but I think other people that are in on other industries can relate to this as well, is like, you know, we get taught that there's this one pathway, right? Like even when I was in the fashion industry, it was like you become an intern and then you do this and then you do this and then you do this and then you find success. And it was like very clearly laid out, right? In the coaching industry, here's the 5 ways you can make money. I'm the same way, wherein I've always been like, I don't fucking want to do it the way that anyone else has done it. Like I don't know, it's the rebel inside of me. I don't know what it is, but how have you allowed yourself to kind of break away from those things and just really give yourself that permission to do you without the pressure of the industry saying, but you're doing it wrong?
You know, I think part of it is because of the Hollywood stuff that I teach, because in Hollywood, there's also no one way to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
You could interview 100 people who are successful in Hollywood, and they'll all tell you 100 different stories of how they broke in or how they worked their way up or how, you know, how they did anything. And it's something that I teach my clients all the time. It's about finding your own way. And I think that, you know, my happiness became more important than the pressure or the perceived pressure of what anybody else thinks, you know, because I don't really care. And I think too, like it helped me realize, oh, I don't think I'm here to just build a coaching business or just build an online course business. You know, it's a deeper purpose for me. And I think my life in Hollywood, you know, and how I grew up acting and, you know, all of these elements, they're just going to lead me to my unique path. And I read a book in December that really catapulted all of this for me called The Third Door. Have you read it?
I haven't.
It's a relatively new, you know, entrepreneur self-help book essentially, but it's about this kid. I mean, I don't know if he's 30 now, he's in his 20s, I don't know. But it's about this kid who was sitting in college and didn't want to go to class and didn't know what he wanted to do with his life. And he was like, man, it'd be so cool to create like a dream college where, you know, people who are uber successful in their areas taught us younger generation. So like Bill Gates would teach computers and Lady Gaga would teach music, you know, things like that. And so he's like, I'm going to go interview all of them and put it in a book. And he didn't know any of them or have any connections to them. And so the book is a collection essentially of these interviews, but really what the book is the journey to how he got the interviews. And I mean, it's really more of a novel, you know, it's a very gripping story. The storytelling aspect is really great of his path to this. And when he was titling the book, The Third Door, I mean, this has really stuck with me. He said, you know, people were saying, oh, you've interviewed all these successful people, Lady Gaga, Steven Spielberg, Bill Gates, you know, is there anything that you see that they have in common? And he came up with this metaphor that he's like, this is the main thing that I have seen them have in common. He said, life is like a nightclub. Everybody is standing in line waiting to get in. They're waiting for the bouncer to allow them in. There's a line that wraps around the block, and that's how most people are trying to get in. He said, then there's the second door that is the VIP entrance. That's the celebrities, the people who are born into it, you know, those types of people who can get in through that second door. He said, but with all of these people that I've interviewed, they have always found a third door. And for them, the third door is sneaking in through the back door, or, you know, crawling in through the kitchen window, or, you know, breaking down a wall and squeezing themselves in, like finding their own way in and not, you know, breaking free from the line that everybody else is in. He talks about, you know, how there's a lot of courage in walking away from that line that everybody else is in to find your own third door and find a different way in. And so I just love that metaphor, and it has really stuck with me, I think, especially in Hollywood, because it's so similar to what I teach. I think everybody in Hollywood has found their own third door, and I think that also inspired me to find mine.
That's incredible. I like, as you're talking, I've got my computer on mute and I'm like pulling up Amazon
Yes,
and like
so
researching
good.
this book. For anyone that's listening and it's by Alex Banyan.
Banayan.
Damn it.
Yeah.
So close. So last question for you. If someone's like, okay, I want to find my third door, where do they start?
I really truly believe in inspired strategy. So I think that you start with where you feel led, where you feel inspired to go. I think inspiration will lead us to action. It will lead you to a teacher. It will lead you to resources. It will lead you to steps to take. It doesn't mean that, figure out your own way, and that doesn't involve a teacher or a mentor. It could. I just think there's so many ways, and I really believe that the way that we find our own is through our intuition, our inner being, those divine downloads that we receive.
Amen. That is we're done. That's it. That was the perfect thing to end this interview on. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
So if people want to connect with you, learn more about you, watch you walk through your third door, where do they find you?
I'm on Instagram and YouTube majorly right now at Hollywood Success Coach. YouTube, you can look me up, Erica Wernick, and HollywoodSuccessCoach.com.
Amazing. I just love you. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much. It was so much fun.
I know it's going to be a good interview when I'm having massive aha moments in it. Like, I know the audience is going to get value if I'm like, whoa. So thank you so much. This was brilliant. And I just so appreciate you.
Thank you.
Wait, don't go yet. I wanted to say a quick thank you for joining me for this episode today. I am so incredibly grateful you are here. 2 last quick things. 1, I want to hear what's in your Success Diaries. So hop on over to Instagram, come find me at Bree Seeley to share with me what your definition of success is and how you're living that definition this week. Second thing, if you are an entrepreneur and you are looking to build or scale your tailor-made business to monetize your genius, I have a great free course I would love to share with you. You can grab it at breeseeley.com/yes. This course is really going to help you do all of the necessary work to build and scale a business that is aligned with your unapologetic self. Much love to you today and every day. I will see you next week on the Success Diaries, which also reminds me, please be sure to subscribe so that you can get this in your notifications every single week. Bye for now, friends.